Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. We'll be spending the next hour and a half together. We alternate from week to week. And so today, the exercise that we do at the very end when we get off the sitting position is the exercise that we call Yi Jing Jing. And then we'll pair that, we'll start that with massage, learning how to massage our extremities, the fingers, the toes, the top of the head, the ears, and so forth. I remember many months ago, years ago, someone asked me, he says, Danny, are you practicing Qi Gong? And I said, well, Qi is translated into live energy, and Gong just means practice. So anyone's that practice the enhancement of the live energy would be called Qi Gong, except Qi Gong has a particular meaning in this case. And I said, well, if you want, I do practice Qi, but I practice Qi as a journey and not as a destination. And so you notice that since the election, I changed the format a little bit. Not so much the first hour and a half, that's continued to be exercise, but I'm much more focused on the destination now. The destination is the teaching of the historical Buddha. And so after hour and a half exercise, if you want to stay, you can stay. I'm hoping to just spend maybe 15, 20 minutes examining different topics, progress as we go through. And if you cannot stay, but you're still interested, you can, I'll try my best to uh, edit that section separately so you can listen to the Dharma talk together with the class notes. Okay, all right. So there's a lot of interest in understanding aging, and this has always been our emphasis here is how to age. I call it mindfully, right? So there's people are now talking about health span as opposed to lifespan. It's not that important to live to 100 years old. It's much more important to live healthily. And so there's a whole new emphasis on the connection between aging and inflammation. Aging is the word, right? Now it turns out that qi, uh, the word qi is written thousands of years ago, is the combination of two words, which means no fire. So qi practice is all about inflammation. And they reduce inflammation by increasing the flow of life energy. And so there's a lot of controversy as to where's the channel for that. And as people, the Western scientists study, they said, oh, it's actually there's a channel of communication that we've been ignoring for as long as we've been advancing the Western medical science, which is the fascia, the connective tissue. And so when we do massage, it's mainly about that. All right. So we're going to start with the fingers, start with the left hand, start with the palm of the hand, start with the tip of the fingers, and then we work our way to the shoulders, to the top of the head, and so forth. I want you to take the right thumb and just use the right thumb and massage the tip of the fingers. Now, the chi, the energy flows throughout our body, and what flows out of the body is called yang energy, solar or masculine energy, or um, yang means the sun, right? So it's in the back of the hand facing the sun. What comes back is the yin energy. So these extremities are actually very important points. So if the chi is blocked at the extremities, then the entire chi system is blocked. So now I want you to take the left hand and just massage the tip of each of these fingers. So there's actually name for these energy points, the 10 energy points at the fingertip. Now, after you massage the fingertips, I want you to massage each finger separately. And when you massage the fingers, I want you to massage the joint separately. And when you massage the joint, I want you to once again, starting with the right thumb and just kind of massage the front of the joint, the left of the joint, come back to the center, to the right. And when you finish with one joint, I want you to move to the next joint. And when you finish with both joints, then I want you to massage the finger. And same thing to then you move on to the next fingers, one finger at a time. And then if you could, I want you to keep examining your mind to see if your mind is, I use the word anchoring your mind onto your body, particularly onto your fingers and your joint, and examine the change in the feeling. This is very important because meditation doesn't mean sitting down. Meditation basically means um, meditation is yoga. Yoga is mind body together, right? All right, so now we're done with the left hand. I want you to work on the right hand the same way, one joint at a time. And when you do the joints, front, left, right, and then move on to the next joint. And when you finish with both joints, massage the fingers. And then now move on to the next finger. Again, starting with one joint. And then, and so I mentioned many times that I am part of the baby boom. I'm actually in the middle of the baby boom. Those who are older than me by 6 years, or those who are younger than me by 6 years, are the bell curve, right? And many of us here experience the same thing, which is that we have a lot of ache in the body. The fingers aching, and shoulders are aching, the backs are aching, everything aches. The knee is aching. And Western science tend to look at that as individual event. Okay. Oh, your fingers ache. Okay, that's arthritis. Oh, your shoulders aching. Okay, that's something else. But the tradition, the Chinese think of it as one system, and aching just means inflammation. That's it. And inflammation is because the chi is blocked. So even though when you work on the fingers, and over time, you find that actually the pain reduces throughout the body because you're increasing the chi flow, right? All right, so now we're done with the palm of the hand. We're going to work on the back of the hand. Same thing, starting with the tip of the fingers, but this time we're going to focus on the fingernail and the two corners of fingernail. So we take our right hand, the thumb, and the index finger, and we just kind of squeeze those two corners. It turns out that many of the chi also starts at the corner of the nail, right? One finger at a time. And then now do the same thing on the right hand, one finger at a time, the two corners of the fingernail. Okay, now we're doing the same thing now on the back of the hand. Once again, massaging the joints, then massage the entire finger, move on to the next finger, massage the joint one at a time. And when you finish with both joints, then massage the finger, all right? And I want you to examine the fingers too. Many of us who suffer from arthritis, which is a form of inflammation, we find that the fingers are kind of crooked, right? Fingers are kind of crooked. Joints have these little lumps of things, gels in it. That's because of the inflammation. So since I've been doing this exercise for probably half a dozen years now, you notice that my fingers are very straight, except for the thumb. The thumb is crooked. This is very typical of arthritis. All right, so now we work on the back of the hand on the right hand side. Again, one joint at a time. And when you finish with both joints, then massage the whole finger. And this is something I want you to do, throughout the day when you're watching TV, when you're just resting, when you're waiting to see the doctor, when you're waiting for the bus, right? Or when you're waiting for the traffic light. This is something you can do, right? Constantly. All right. So now we're done with the fingers, and we're going to continue to work on the back of the hand. First, we're going to work on between the knuckle. So I want you to hold your fist like this, but don't hold it too tight. Then you take your thumb and you use the edge of the thumb as if you're using a blade, and you just kind of fit that blade within the knuckle. And then you notice the fingers are individual bones, but then they eventually join at the wrist. So again, we take the thumb and just kind of slide it between the bone. And then when the bones join together, if you're mindful, you can actually find that two dimple. And once you kind of do some acupressure on those two dimples, and then finally the thumb needs special attention. So massage the thumb. Everything starts with the thumb, right? Try not to use your thumb. There's nothing you can do. You cannot even hold a fork or chopsticks or open the door. Nothing. So the thumb is the most important. All right. Now we're going to do the same thing on the right hand side. Again, hold up the fist, soft fist, and then put your left thumb in between the um, the knuckles, and then slide it between the bones on the back of the hand, and then massage the wrist. Do some acupressure on the wrist, and then come back and really work on this thumb, especially here. Especially here. This actually is an important um, part of the chi system. Massage your thumb. All right. Okay. So now we're going to come back to the center of the palm, and if you follow the middle fingers and the index fingers down between the bones, there is a cavity here, and this is a very important energy point. This is called the palace of labor. So I want you to use the right thumb and kind of do some acupressure. Same thing on the other side. Do some acupressure. Now, this energy point is the only energy point in the entire body that can actually give out energy. So this is the healing hands. Now I want you to focus on this energy point. Put that together, but you imagine you have a circle around it, and you kind of put that hand together like this. But it helps if you actually focus. This is actually you're bringing out energy within yourself. And then I want you to put the right hand on top of the left hand. And so you can massage the back of the hand and the center of the palm. And I want you to squeeze the fingers together like this, massage. And then do it the other way and massage. Now we're doing a lot of work on the fingers because the fingers are important. The fingers are important, right? Last week, I had a German Shepherd and a little mutt in my house. They're gone. The family returned from the trip, but in exchange, I now have one, two, three dogs and one cat. Right? My daughter and son came back for the holiday, and you know that the dogs are very good with their nose, right? Very good with the nose, so they like to smell everything. And the cats are very good with the eyes. So every animal has something that allows them to distinguish themselves in the evolution, correct? Now the humans distinguish themselves with the fingers, all right? We learn how to use the thumb. I mentioned how important the thumb is. Once we know how to use the thumb, we can tear off a branch and use it as a weapon. Once we have a weapon, we can walk down the trees. And once we walk down the tree, we learn how to walk up straight, right? Homo erectus. And now we can actually um, learn to hunt and all that. So it's all about the fingers. The fingers is like the nose of the dog or the eyes of the ear. And the fingers allows the evolution of a brain or intellect. Okay. So the Chinese believe that working on the fingers would enhance our neurological health, delaying the possibility of dementia. And but it also work on something like actually the five fingers are the five elements. So the five elements are the water, the vegetation, the fire, the soil, and then finally the mineral. It's the balance of those five, the harmony of those five, right? That creates health. Those five actually also represents the five internal organs, right? The water is the kidney, the vegetation is the liver, the fire is the heart, and then the soil is the splint and the stomach, and then finally the mineral is the lung. Okay, so these five fingers actually are connected to our energy system, and so I want you to do two. We're going to do two sets of exercise on the fingers. One to reduce a chance of having stroke. Now, stroke is inflammation. Right? You say, oh, no, it's not. Stroke is because you have too much cholesterol in the blood vessel, and then one a piece got loose and went into your brain. That's what the stroke is. Yes, but where does the cholesterol come from? The cholesterol is your body's way of healing inflammation. Okay. I still find people not eating the egg yolk because there's too much cholesterol. I said, look, you can eat 200 eggs a day. It's not going to be enough to offset your cholesterol because your system, your body creates so much cholesterol. Remember, I told you the story about how a medical student wanted to prove that. So we actually ate 200 eggs a day for like 3 months just to see what happens. And at the end of 3 months, his cholesterol went down. I said, wow, how did that happen? because he only ate eggs. He didn't eat anything else. He didn't eat any sugar or bread or anything that causes inflammation. So his cholesterol actually went down even though he ate 200 eggs a day. All right. Okay, so this set of fingers, this first set exercise is very famous. It's actually started by a Qigong master who happens to be a retired university professor, and he actually suffered. That's what he's teaching. It's a very simple exercise. So you take your fingers, you take your thumb and the index, and you put that together, right? And you squeeze as hard as you can. That's all. And then now you take your thumb and the middle finger and you squeeze as hard as you can. And then finally the ring finger and the pinkies, okay? And then now you continue by putting the thumb in the middle of the index finger and you squeeze as hard as you can. The middle of the, put in the middle of the middle finger and squeeze and then squeeze. Okay, that's it. All right. So if you know someone who has just had a minor stroke and they're in the process of doing physical therapy, this is a good exercise. There's been a lot of clinical data that shows that this helps preventing stroke, but also recovering stroke. All right. Now the second exercise has more to do with neurological health, preventing dementia. Right. Now, many people think that dementia is the loss of memory. That's not the case. Eventually, that's going to happen. My observation, my father suffered from dementia, is the loss of balance. The loss of balance is the precursor, and also the loss of the coordination of the fingers. Right? Remember, I talked about the importance of the fingers and the brain. All right, now this exercise requires you to do one hand at a time to separate the left brain from the right brain. Right? There's increasing study that says, oh, dementia is actually the inflammation of the brain. And the Chinese actually believe that it's the left brain and the right brain, and it's the inflammation of the membrane between the two. All right. So separate the left brain from the right brain by focusing on the right hand, and we're going to work on one fingers at a time. All right. It's very important that we focus on the thumb, bring the thumb towards the center of the palm. Now we focus on two fingers, bring that down, then the index fingers and the little fingers. Now we focus on the left hand, thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. And then we squeeze as hard as you can. Squeeze as hard as you can. Now we're going to reverse it by opening the fingers on the right hand, focusing on the right hand in the reverse order. So pinky, index, two fingers, and the thumb. Same thing on the other side. Reverse order, pinky, index, two fingers, and the thumb. And then we're going to stretch those fingers as hard as we can. That's the first time. The second time, we're going to do a little bit faster. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Thumb, two fingers, index, little finger. We're going to squeeze as hard as we can. We're going to open it in reverse order. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. And then we're going to stretch that as hard as we can. Now, one last time. Thumb, two fingers, index, little one. Thumb, index, two fingers, index, little one. Squeeze as hard as we can. Open it back, one hand at a time. Index, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. All right, now to the left. Index, little fingers, index, two fingers, and the thumb. And then we're going to stretch as hard as we can. Okay, that's the second finger exercise. Now we're going to close by putting the palm of the hand together and the fingers together. Sit up straight, and then we're going to push the palm together, sit up straight, and then bring it down without, all right, continue to touch the center of the palm. All right, so now we're going to start the next modality called tapping the energy point. So we're going to continue to touch the 10 fingertips, sit up straight, and we're going to tap 30 times. It helps if you focus. All right, get ready, go. Now we're going to tap the fingers, put the fingers together. So there's 10 energy point first, and then now there's 8 energy points. I'm going to tap that 30 times. Okay, now we're going to tap the palm of the hand first and then the back of the hand. Palm of the hand is the yin. Yin means absence of the sun, away from the sun. And we're going to work on two energy lines, the one that starts with the little fingers and the one that starts with thumb. This one is called the heart. The middle one is called the pericardium. The thumb is the lung. Now remember now, they're not necessarily, they are the part of the organ, but it's not just the organ. It's actually heart is the fire, and then the lung is the mineral, remember? All right, so now we come down on the little fingers. You see this little piece of muscle here? That's what we want to do, muscle to muscle. Now we form our hand into a V, and we're going to tap that 30 times. This is the heart, but it's actually when the Chinese talk about heart, they can either mean the heart as an organ, or they can mean the mind. Okay, so this is more like the mind. Okay, all right, get ready, go. Okay, so when we talk about aging in the West, we typically talk about the aging of the body, right? Pieces are falling apart, right? But in the Chinese way of thinking about aging is not just the body, but it's also the mind. Our mind weakens too, right? We tend to, it's much harder for us to focus. We have a lot more doubt about what we do. And so this energy point that goes like this all the way to here is part of that, okay? So our exercise is equally important on the physical side and the mental side. Now we're gonna do the opposite, which is the lung energy line. And again, you see this little, it's like little drumstick here, right? So we put that together, palm facing down, form your V 30 times. Okay, now it's interesting to see how the Chinese pair the yin and the yang. So the yin side, right, is the heart. All right. Now the Chinese, they separate the organs into the yin organs and the yang organ. The yin organs are the treasure organs. They're the organs that contains the essence of life. Whereas what they call the yang organs is what they call the 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 vessel organ, the container organ. They're actually empty inside. Okay, so they're like the intestines, they're like the stomach, they're like the gallbladder and the bladder. They actually are empty inside. Whereas the heart and the lung and all that, they contain treasure, they contain essence. So it's interesting to see how the yin side is the mind and the yang side is the small intestine, right? We eating is a happy event, so we kind of know that, right? Chocolate and all that is very good, it excites the intestines. But it turns out that um, intestinal health is also very important to your mind. And so there's a study that I mentioned last time, maybe the time before, that people are now studying the link between digestive failure, right, problem with digestions, and uh, not Alzheimer, Parkinson, right? So it's just kind of interesting. So we'll work on the yin, and then now we'll work on the yang. The yang side is the small intestine's energy points right here. So you fold your hand, you see this line that go across right there. So now you put that together. Now you fold your hand flat like this, okay? So this one is facing, and then you roll up your hands, and then we're going to tap that 30 times, all right? Okay, ready, go. Okay, now similarly on the yin side is the lung, and then its counterpart on the yang side is the large intestine. Interesting, huh? Because the lung is the mineral. Mineral is adds vitality to our body, correct? And then the opposite of that is when you take the toxins in your body and put it out. So it makes sense that one is the mineral, both are mineral. One is the intake and one is outlet, right? So this energy point is called the merging valley. So if you take your thumb and your index finger, you open it like this, you see the valley here, and you take this energy point, you put that on top, and we're going to tap that 30 times. And we're going to do the other way. Okay, so a lot of talk now about autonomous disorder. Autonomous disorder is the disorder of the autonomous nerve system. So we all know that we have a autonomous nerve system called the fight or flight, and then we have the opposite of that called the rest and digest. So going back to the days when we started to walk upright and started to hunt, right? We need to find shelter. So the shelter is the cave. So when we're inside the cave, we are rest and digest. And when we go out to hunt, then we are fight or flight. So our body evolves such that there's these two distinct autonomous system. And when we're out there in danger, the body puts out a lot of stress hormone, one of which is called cortisol. It's a natural steroid. It reduces inflammation, right? And then when you return to the cave at the comfort and the protection of the cave, then the body switches over to the rest and digest, and that's when you restore the sensitivity to the steroid. Because if you have too much, then you have what's called cortisol resistance, and that's the reason for many of the problem that we have, the health problem that we have. When you lose your sensitivity to your own steroid, then it's essentially you losing your self-healing power. Your body inflames and it's now chronic inflammation, right? And so it's very important that we maintain that harmony. And so a lot of the exercise that we do here is to maintain that harmony, is the yin yang harmony. But on the other hand, it helps to know where the yang energy lines are, especially this one. This is the large intestine. So when you clear this yang energy line, this one that we name after the large intestine, it actually reduces pain because it channels your self-healing power. So it's very important that we learn more about that, okay? And also when you have high blood pressure, and these would be the important energy points. There are two reasons for mainly for high blood pressure. One is that it clears your heart lung, right? So you're a little bit more efficient. You can have more oxygen into your brain. This is the part that senses whether you have enough oxygen. And if you don't have enough oxygen, it will increase the pressure to give you more oxygen. You go to the doctor and the doctor says, "Oh, that's not a good idea. So let me, give you some medicine to lower the blood pressure." Now you have even less oxygen into your brain. And so then you develop a lot of pain in the back because, and so forth. And so this one opens the channel. So I want you to come back to this point called the merging valley. So it's a valley, but you see this edge here, this edge here. Now you take the right thumb, you see this line here. You put the line on top of the edge, and then you just kind of push down, doing some acupressure, and it's very tender, very sore, but magically it also reduces pain. I use this a lot. I don't, for some reason, my mom and I, we get a lot of muscle cramp. This just runs in the family. And so when I have muscle cramp, and I would just do that, and then the pain will go away, and then I can relax, and then I can go and drink some water. All right, so this is important. And then you come up here you feel the bone, right? So you just glide along the bone until you get to the elbow, and you bend your elbow, and then you push down with the thumb. So this is called the palm at the bend, right? Also very good for high blood pressure. Now, you measure 4 fingers from that. Again, you locate the bone, but it's on the outside of the bone, and you push down, and it's very sore. And turns out that this is very good for the back pain, shoulder pains, and back pain too, right? All right. Now you move up to the shoulder, you measure 4 fingers down, and you kind of squeeze that part. That would help too. All right. Now back to the right hand, locate the line, locate the edge, align the line with the edge, push down. This is called the merging valley. Come up to the elbow. This is called the palm at the bend. Okay. Measure 4 fingers, find the bone on the outside of the bone, push down. This one is good if you have frozen shoulder like I do. Right? or actually sometimes when you twist it back, that works too. And then come back to the shoulder and do this. Okay, so my frozen shoulder is getting better, and my carpal tunnel is getting better. We're going to do the carpal tunnel part by scraping, and lately my thumb hurts a lot because I'm using it too much. So what I find that there's a magical energy point that actually relieves pain on my thumb. And so let's do the left hand. If you have a left thumb or right thumb or both, now you take your left hand and you kind of do like this. Don't bend it, okay? Just like this. You take your right hand and you open up and you cross like this, right? Then you take your magical measuring tool, your index finger, and make sure you don't bend the left hand. You just reach across, then you put the thumb on top of that, and you first balance, and then you push down, and then you notice that the bone cracks and it opens up. And this one actually reduced the pain on my thumb. All right. Now, same thing. Okay. Now, like this, index finger, reach across, and then push down. Balance it first, and then push down, and then the pain on my thumb goes away because it clears the channel. It clears the channel, meaning that it lets your unleash your self-healing power. Let the natural steroid flows through your wherever it hurts. Right. Otherwise, you have to go to the doctor, inject, right? Steroid. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. I know people who did that, and it turns out that it works like magic for the first 6 months, and then it comes back and it hurts even more. All right. Okay, so now we're going to do some scraping. Scraping is very good for carpal tunnel. We all have that. We spend too much time, working on the keyboard, working on the mouse, or even working in the kitchen. I once knew a sushi chef that has really severe carpal tunnel problem because that's what he does. All right, so now we're going to scrape, and we're going to bring out our magical scraping tool, the knuckle. And when we scrape, we're going to divide the inside into three, divide the outside into three. So the center is the pericardium, and we start with the elbow, and we work all the way to the wrist. Okay, we take our scraping tool, and we just kind of scrape like this, and you say, "Oh, it hurts." Well, of course it hurts. Your chi is blocked. And then now when we get to the where you wear the watch, there's actually a very important energy point here. And this is well known for people who have, I forgot the name, but where your heartbeat sometimes go high and sometimes go low. Emia. I forgot what that is called. And then you just come back to the elbow. This really helps. Now, sometimes I use a scraping tool. You can actually buy a scraping tool, okay? All right, so now this is the center line. So we're gonna move up from the center line. We're gonna locate the bone. One side of the bone is the lung, again, from the elbow to the wrist, back to the elbow. Now we're gonna scrape the bone. And then you might say, what's the point of scraping the bone? I thought there was only 5, 6 energy line, and they all go like this, except that they're called meridian. Meridian goes like this, but there's also something goes like this, right? So the energy actually flows across. So now when you scrape the bone, see if you have any kinks on the bone. And if it's nice and smooth, that means you're doing a good job. And if there's any kinks, that's blockage of the cross flow. All right, so now on the outside of the bone, this is the large intestine. Once again, starting at the elbow to the wrist and back. And then now we go to the center. The center is the energy line that has no Western equivalent. It's called the triple warmer. And then now we scraped the back of the hand, fingers, thumb, back of the hand, and then scrape the center. Rotate your hand so you scrape on one side of the bone, scrape on top of the bone, scrape on the inside of the bone, scrape the center line, and then finally get to this mental part of heart. And we scrape first at the wrist, and then stretch out and scrape until you get to the elbow. So many of you have sleep quality problem, not sleep problem, but necessary, but sleep quality, meaning that you can sleep because your body is so tired. And or you make yourself tired, right? You keep watching TV until you can't stand it anymore, and then you go to sleep. But then after an hour and a half, 2 hours, you wake up again because the body recovered, but your mind hasn't. And so this is an important energy line for that. Now to the right, from the center, from the elbow all the way to the wrist, and then back to the elbow, and then locate the bone inside of the bone from the elbow to the wrist, and then now scrape the bone outside the bone, and then the center line, and then the back of the hand, the fingers, the thumb, back of the hand, and then scrape again. Now, the Western medical scientists are starting to catch up to this, and they're very curious about how scraping can reduce pain. Okay, and so they decided that perhaps what we're doing is activating some something. They have their own way of explaining things. Something underneath the skin, which is probably not entirely wrong, right? I just know that it works. I don't have carpal tunnel. Or at least that's how I keep it under control. I use my hands so much, right? And for so long. I'm 68, right? I remember holding my first pencil when I was 3. That's how long it's been using my hand, right? So no wonder I have pain. Okay, all right. Okay, so now we're gonna do some finger work, right? Finger work, sending energy out and then sending energy back. Action equal to reaction. It's very important that we stretch our spine. Now, this exercise is very important because as we age, our spine oxidize, right? So people can look at bones and just by visual inspection know that it's an older person because it's a little yellow because they oxidize. And so when the spiral cord oxidize, we actually there's a reductions in the inside, meaning that we're generating less marrow than we were when we were younger, which explains why our immune system is deteriorating. Um, and our strength is deteriorating. So it's very important to learn to stretch that spine too, because when you stretch, the dogs stretch every morning. They stretch, right? They're so smart. When you stretch your spine, you're actually generating electricity because they're piezoelectric, and it's the electricity that reverse oxidation process. So I want you to focus on the bottom of your spine. I want you to, as if you're walking on your spine, I want you to do it slowly, one joint at a time. And as you walk up to the top of the head, I want you to stretch the spine one joint at a time. Stretch, 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 stretch. And then I want you to lean back and then relax. All right, that's important. The second part is important. The shoulder is important. It blocks the chi. So I want you to take your shoulder, lift up your entire body as if you're bringing your shoulder to your ear. And then I want you to open that shoulder as far back as you can, as if you're squeezing a tennis ball in the back. And then I want you to relax. Okay, so we do that first. And this is important because all the yang energy actually rises on your spiral cord. This is actually called the guardian vessel. All right. Now, once you put yourself in this posture, then you can point all your fingers towards the camera, locking your elbow. You roll up your four fingers as if they're springs. You hold down the springs with your thumb. You wind up the springs, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Sorry, I can't call in a
8,
minute. Are you SSD now?
9,
Who do you want to
10.
call?
Serious listening. All right. Now, the next one is very good for the frozen shoulder. Okay. Now, I want you to take the shoulder, lift it up, take the shoulder, open it, and then relax. Now, you expose these two cavity points that we call the gate to the cloud, is part of the um, of the of the of the lung meridian. Then I want you to take the 10 fingers again. The 10 fingers, remember, represent the 5 elements and all the internal organs. I want you to take the thumb and the middle fingers and squeeze it as hard as you can. I want you to take the other three and open it as far as you can. This is called the lotus hand. I want to put that lotus hand on the gate of the cloud. Once again, open the shoulder, sit up straight, back of the hand facing the camera. Get ready. Go. One, back of the hand facing the camera. Two, holding the middle fingers and all the other fingers. Three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. All right. So I think Siri learns your pattern. So when we do the Eugene Jing exercise at the end, remember there's a jump, a part where we jump. The first time we did that, Siri says, "Are you okay? Did you fall down? Should I call the ambulance?" I said no. And then it learns, it knows that, okay, well, he's doing something crazy every other day. Now let him be. Okay, now we work on the fingers, right? We're working boop, 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 like this, and then now we're gonna work towards the top of the head. And so we got to work on the neck now. The neck is where a lot of things happening that prevents us from having good health because the chi wants to rise and it's blocking right here. And so let's work on the neck first. So once again, remember how we sit properly, right? Take the top of the head, stretch. Now you can combine the two by also lifting your shoulder and then opening your shoulder as you lean back and then relax the entire body, right? So you can combine the two together if you like. Now you take your fingers, you lock your fingers, you put that in the back of the head, you sit up straight, you're looking straight ahead, then you take your thumb and you glide down until you find these two cavities. Very easy to find. This is called the pond of wind. Wind is something you cannot see, cannot taste, cannot smell, cannot hear. You can only feel. This is our way of saying nerve. Right? Your nervous system is right here. So I want you to push with your thumb and then lean back with your neck as if you're squeezing a rubber hose. Then I want you to relax. Let the chi rise. Then I want you to take the right hand, 4 fingers pressing down on the left hand side. Lean back with your neck. Press as hard as you can. And then grab the left side of the neck and bring it to the right side as if you're opening a channel. Same thing on the other side. Sit up straight, press down 4 fingers. Grab the right side of the neck and pull it towards the left as if you're opening channel. Then I want you to take the right hand, put that under the ears, and just kind of massage. It will be below the bone, okay? And then just ask yourself, guide yourself by saying, relax, relax. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Relax, relax, relax. Okay, now we take a right hand, put that on top of the ear. Now we're going to massage on the bone, right? Bring it down. Relax, relax, relax. Now the right hand side. Relax, relax, relax. Now we're going to do some massage using a thumb and like this. Now we're going to move towards the ear in the middle on top of the bone like this. Now this one will help you sleep. Okay, now we're going to do more massage by putting the thumb on one side and then the 4 fingers on the other. And we're going to move down to the middle of the neck. There's 2 energy points there. And then now you can leave your hand inside of your clothing. I put it outside so you can see. You move down and then you kind of grab it like this. There's 2 energy points here called the door of wind. Okay, so now we're done with the neck. We're going to work on the left side of the neck. I want you to take the right hand, use the edge of the index finger, put that under your ear and kind of scrape that. Scrape that. And then I want you to massage the top of the shoulder. There's energy point here called the well of the shoulder. Then you move back, there's a cavity. The energy point is always at the cavity. Okay, now move to the center where we were before, back to behind the well, and then also over here. And then now massage the shoulder. And then do the same thing on the other side. Great. And then massage the top of the shoulder. Now the top of the shoulder is important. I'll talk about this. And then back of the shoulder, right here, towards the center, back to here, and then over here. And then now, wherever you have cavity and you push down and it's aching, and that's then you got it. Then that's where you want to be. All right. So back of the neck, left, right. Now we do the front. Okay. All right. So now we come back to this magical energy point. This is your healing hand. I want you to focus in the center, which is between your index finger and your middle finger. And then once again, do acupressure here, do acupressure here. Okay, now we're going to learn how to heal ourselves by putting the pressure points together. Imagine there's a circle around it and just focus on that. And then now we're going to put that on in front of an eye. You do that with an empty hand, so you're not touching your eyeball. You sit up straight, you put that in front of your eye, and then now you can try to open your eye, and if you see light, then move around so that you don't see light, and you're looking straight into the darkness. And then you said, well, I don't feel anything. That's because your eye hasn't adjusted to the infrared. So now we're going to get started. Get ready, focus, and then put that on top of your eye. You feel a little warm. Okay, good. Second time, put that in your eye. Ah, there you go. One last time, put that on your eye. Okay, all right. So now we're going to massage the face from the forehead to the chin. We're going to massage the side. We're going to come back and massage the temple. We're going to massage the forehead, starting with in between the eyebrow. There's an energy point here, very important. As you push down your fingers, you feel a little aching, but at the same time, kind of relaxation, right? A lot of stress are accumulated in between the eyebrow. And then now we're going to massage the forehead, and then we're going to massage where the hairlines are. So there's a triangle here, and this is important. Okay, and then now we're going to start to massage the top of the head, knowing that this is the part that is responsible for all your cognitive function. It's going to move back, knowing that this is the part that is responsible for all your memory. And then we're going to further down. This is the part that is responsible for your motor function. And then we're going to massage the neck. Then we come back and massage the top of the ear, back to the face, back to the hand. Okay, now we're going to come back and do a little bit more detailed massage, especially around the eyes. Okay, as we age, eyes has a lot of problem, right? You try to go to eye clinic, uh, it's the most crowded facility. Everybody's there. They are there for the diabetes. They're there for the glaucoma. They're there for oh man, it's just like so many different specialists. Right? Some people look at the front of the eye. Some people look at the back of the eye. It's crazy. So eye is very important. All right. So now we're going to learn to massage the eye, knowing that there's 3 energy points on top and 3 energy points on the bottom. First, we're going to start at the eyebrow, the beginning of the eyebrow. We'll use the index finger. You can actually feel a cavity there. So sit up straight, push down with your index finger. Use a little bit of the neck muscle to provide some counter pressure. All right. So now we're going to massage the eyebrow as if we're squeezing the toothpaste. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do a massage underneath the eyebrow on top of the bone. Okay, you can use the thumb if you want, and just kind of, or just do the same thing. Use the index finger, but now focus more on the bottom part of the eyebrow. This is not so much about the energy point as it is about just clearing the oil tube that goes into your eye. The problem we have dry eye as we age is because of lack of oil, not lack of eye drop. Okay, the water in the eye evaporate if there's no oil. Right. Okay, so now we're going to work on the bottom of the eye, going from the corner to the tail. Very gently. Now we're going to come back to one more energy point, which is at the corner of the eye. Go up a little bit and use the thumb to provide some pressure. And close your eye. We're going to do some eye yoga. Okay, now close your eye. We're going to turn the eyeball up as if you're looking at the ceiling. We're going to turn it to the right as if you're looking at very far. We're going to turn it down as if you're looking at the floor. Turn it to the left. Get ready. Up, right, down, left. Up, right, down, left. Up, right, down, left. Back to up. Now we're going to do a counterclockwise. Get ready. Left, down, right, up. Left, down, right, up. Left, down, right, up. Open your eyes. This energy point is called the bright eye. Okay, now we're going to take 2 index fingers, starting at the corner of the eye, massage to the corner of the mouth, to the chin. Okay, now we're going to come back to the eye using the thumb, come down to the cheekbone, and we're going to put some pressure there. Lift up your cheekbone. Now we're going to use 2 index fingers, put that outside. This is the nostril, right? Outside. This is called the welcome fragrance. So if you have sinus problem, this is where you want it. You can either massage or put some pressure, either way. Then we're going to massage here. This is your high blood pressure point. Okay, now we're all done with the face. Let's work on another set of extremity, which are the ears. Massaging the ears is very important. Now we're going to sit up straight. Remember how we sit up straight now? Then we're going to lift up the shoulder. Then we're going to open the shoulder, lean back and relax. We separate the ear into 3 parts. First, the top. Put the thumb inside and kind of squeeze the ear. The middle, and then the lower part. We come back to the tip, yank to the edge, to the ear loop, yank. Leave the thumb behind the ear loop. Take the index finger, put that outside of the ear, and then it's kind of massage. Okay, now we're going to massage the back of the ear, which is very good, very important for high blood pressure. And we're going to work on this. You see how the ear folds back like this? Just work on that. And then we're going to put 2 fingers, one on the ear, one on the back of the head, and kind of massage from the top to the bottom. Now, the left-hand side, massage to this fold area. And then 2 fingers. Now, the Chinese believe that massaging the ear is very important because it reflects the rest of the body. When we were inside a mother's womb, the fetus is the shape of the ear. So everything that was in the fetus reflected on the ear. So that's how they think. Okay, so one last thing we do is called drumming the ear. So we take a hand, put that behind, cover the ear, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right. So we'll get ready to do some tapping, huh? From the top to the bottom. Okay, so stretch, lift up your shoulder, open your shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Lean back the forehead so the ears on top of the shoulder. Tuck in your chin so the top of the head is on top of your central nervous system. Take your 10 fingers, put that on top of your head. Leave the fingers are vertical, okay? All right, get ready, go. Okay, so now we're going to work towards the bottom of the feet, and then right here is the well on the shoulder. So sit up straight, open the shoulder, relax. Take your right hand, empty hand, fingers on top, and the palm right here. Remember that gate to the palm. Sit up straight, turn your head to the right. Listen with the left ear. Get ready, go. Continue. Now the other side, stretch, open, lean back, relax, left hand, right ear, get ready, go. Continue. Okay, now we're going to move on to this 8 cavities, which are kind of famous. And the Chinese believe that those 8 cavities, those 8 energy points, are where you will enhance your immune system. Now, as it turns out, when you look at it from a modern science standpoint, they happen to be where your lymph nodes are. And the first one is right here. So we stretch, open, relax, and then we focus on the left shoulder, left elbow, sorry. We take the left elbow, put that on top of the head. We look up straight, so we're stretching this part. Then we pinch the upper part of your right ear. Take the right hand, empty hand, put that on the armpit. Turn your head to the right. Listen with the left ear. Get ready. Wake up. Continue. Right side, left hand, right ear. Wake up. Continue. Okay, now to the elbow. Stretch your elbow, put your palm at the eye level, take your right hand, empty hand, fingers on top, palm on the side. Get ready. Listen with your left ear. Wake up. Continue. And then the right hand side. Take your left hand, empty hand, right ear. Wake up. Continue. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go from the upper part of the body to the lower part of the body. Continue to work on the other 6 energy lines. And the upper body is the heart and lung mainly, and then the lower part is the liver, splint, and kidney, and its yang counterpart. By the way, my blood test report came back early in the morning. I did my blood test. I have to do it 4 times a year because of my diabetes. And my diabetes is the reason for my diabetes is kind of strange. I'm one of the last people that had to have a operation of the stomach because of ulcer. Right now, these days you don't. These days there's drugs you can take. Turns out that there's just some bacteria, and then you take the medicine, then the ulcer is gone. But I was the last of the generation that had to do that. My father had to do that. And then turns out that those people who had that surgery, they tend to have diabetes. They tend to develop diabetes. The Chinese thinks that because you're disturbing the splint qi, and the splint qi is has something to do it. But anyway, other than that, no cholesterol problem, okay, and none of the problem, no problem at all. Very healthy, 68-year-old, because my body is not inflamed. That's what it means, right? All right. So just let you know that I eat my own dog food. Okay. All right. So we're going to work on the lower part of our body now. And so, of course, the doctor is going to want to measure my blood pressure just in case. And I usually have very good blood pressure as well because I'm a meditator. All right. So above the knee, 2 energy points as part of the kidney energy line. We use the empty fist. So in other words, don't hold it too tight. Don't try to beat your body into submission. Just very gently. And if you focus, it's as if you're resonating with your body. Okay, get ready, go. And then again. And then now we're going to work on the gallbladder, which is the yang side. So we're going to close the knee, same two energy point. And the gallbladder is the energy line that associate with wind. So that's the nerve system. And it's known that these two energy points is very good for reducing your chance of having a stroke. Okay, get ready, go. Second one. Okay, now we're going to work below the knee, still on the outside. The first one is, you see this cavity here. So if you take your finger, you can't go anymore. Now this one turned out to be very important for your immunity. Get ready, go. And then the middle. And then further down, this one is called the hanging bell. So you see some tingling in your toes. Now you first come to the angle, you measure 4 fingers on the outside. Get ready, go. Okay, now we're done with the gallbladder, which is on the outside. And then now we're going to work on the stomach, which is also yang energy, also facing the sun. So we come back to here. At the knee, we measure 4 fingers. We locate the bone just on the outside of the bone. So you close your knee. Okay, get ready. So this is very important for your digestion. Go. Now, the next one, measure 4 fingers, locate the bone, just on the outside of the bone. Close your knee, get ready, go. Okay, now we work on the last of the yang energy line, which is the one that we name after the bladder. And we're going to work on this one energy point. Is very important. It's at the bottom of your calf. Your calf is your second heart. So this one is famous for its association with high blood pressure, with dementia, right? So you put that on top of your right knee. Okay, it hurts. And then now do it the other way. It hurts. And then we're going to tap that 30 times. Get ready, go. Okay, so there are 2 muscle areas that's very important. One is the calf. So you do that by when we do the I Ching Jing, you will know that we stand with the knee unlocked. That way we put pressure on the calf. That's the important part. Or you walk regularly. The other piece of the body where the muscle is important is right here. So in I Ching Jing, there's a part where we do the pull up. It's right here. Okay. Now the other way. Get ready. Go. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go and work on the toes, right? We started the fingers. Now we're finishing with the toes. Okay. And once again, we start with the liver energy line. The liver energy line is in between the big toe and the second toe. So we take a right thumb Again, use the edge, put that between the bones, just like what we did with the palm, right? And we just one at a time, very sore, right? Until we get to the little one. So basically all 5 energy lines are the toes. Splint, liver, stomach, gallbladder, and then also the bladder. And then come back. We're going to do some acupressure right here, where before the 2 bones join together. Okay. And then massage. Then we're going to flip your feet so the bottom is facing up. We're going to take the toe, bend it backward. You see this tendon? This is called the longevity tendon. So we scrape that with a knuckle. Then we let go. We scrape the bottom of our feet. We scrape the heel. We scrape the ball area. And then we massage the toes, right? So I remember mentioning that the 2 indication of health or lack of health is that your feet are cold, meaning that your circulation is very bad, and that you have no saliva. You're constantly hydrating, drinking water, because you're in fight or flight. When you're in fight or flight, it turns off your saliva gland. So I believe in hydration. I also believe in self-hydration. All right, so now this is the most important part of the bottom of your feet, which is the calf. So I want you to scrape between the bone and the knee. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The beginning is where the splint energy line passed, so we're going to scrape a little bit more. And right below the angle is where the kidney energy lines goes, and we're just going to scrape some more. And then between the angle and the knee, below the bone, is where the splint energy line goes. Splint is very important. Splint and stomach are the soil element. They're responsible for transportation as well as transformation. Transportation is the transport of water, meaning that the lymphatic system is part of that. So when you have swelling, it's a bad sign. And then it also, transformation is digestion, right? All right. So 2 energy points. One is measuring 4 fingers from the angle, locate the bone right below the bone, is what we call the 3 yin meet. All 3 yin energy line comes here. And then right behind the angle towards the Achilles heel, right here, this is the kidney. And then the most important energy point for the kidney is right below the ball area. This is called the gushing spring. So the kidney is the water element. That's a precursor of life. Whereas the opposite is the soil element. That's the crater of life. Okay, so we're going to tap the center of your bottom of your feet with the center of your palm. So you roll back your toes, you make an empty hand. This technique was invented by a physician, Chinese medical doctor back in the Tang Dynasty. He wrote it up when he was 120 years old. And he says that this is the mixing of water and fire. Get ready? Go. Continue. Okay, now quickly on the right-hand side, we don't have that much time today. And massage in between the toes, from the big toe to the little one, and then back. Do a little bit of acupressure right here. Turn it upside down. Scrape the longevity tendon. Relax. Scrape the bottom of your feet. Scrape the heel, sorry. Scrape the ball area. Massage the toes. Scrape the arch. A little bit more below the bone. A little bit more below the angle. And then scrape inside, and then do our acupressure here, 4 fingers. Do a little bit of acupressure behind the ankle. Come back, do acupressure on the gushing spring, and then mixing the water and fire. Bend back your toes, making empty hand. Get ready, go. Continue. Okay, all right, so we have 20 minutes left, and we have to do two things. One is the Yi Jing Jing exercise, and the other one is the sitting meditation. We might go over time a bit, okay? Plus, I want to do my Dharma talk today. Okay, so we're going to do our Yi Jing Jing now. Okay, so we're going to stand. We're going to stand with the feet same as the shoulder. We're going to turn the toes inward. We're going to loosen up the knees so we activate the calf. Now we're going to stretch your spine, open the shoulder, relax, lean back the forehead, tuck in the chin. So the top of the head is on top of the central nerve system. The first is called spirit boosting palm. We're sending a shock wave through the center of your body all the way to the brain, okay, and back. So we're going to do that by pointing the center of the palm towards the earth. We're going to bring it back a little bit. Okay, now we're gonna look straight ahead so the energy can actually go to the top of your head. If you do that, it doesn't work. We're gonna focus on the center of the palm, and when I say go, you make sure that your mind is actually anchored on the center of your palm before you push. Okay, get ready. Go. And then now it's very important that we come back to the restorative, which means that we're completely relaxed. We're focusing on the breathing. We focus on the breath, one breath at a time from the beginning. Know that I'm breathing in to the end. Know that I'm breathing out. And then you do the second one. This is very important to restore the sensitivity to your steroid. Second time, looking straight ahead. Ready? Go. Back to the breathing. Now, it helps if you check the inside your mouth. And if your mouth continues to be dry, that means you're not focusing, you're not relaxing enough. That's why somewhere in the end, we have to swallow the salivas. One last time. Get ready. Go. And then relax. The next one is called pointing the wantel. Pointing means that your focus now is on the thumb. You point your thumbs around, to your hip, forming a half circle of energy. You roll up your four fingers. You imagine hanging 2 buckets of water on your thumb, and you lift up your thumb as if you're lifting up the 2 buckets of water, activating both the lung and the large intestine energy line. You hold it, and then you relax without lowering the hand. You relax your fingers. Focus on the breath, on the breathing. Check the inside of your mouth. Second time, relax. Again, focus on your breath. If you have to swallow a saliva along the way, you're doing it right. Third time, but if you get thirsty as you go, then you're doing it wrong. Relax, lower your hand, completely relax. The third one is called the beginner's mind. This is how the baby holds the thumb, activating the heart and the pericardium energy line. You put your thumb across, you roll up your fingers, and you squeeze your fist as hard as you can. And then you open your fist, relax the fingers without lowering your hand. You focus on your breath, check the saliva. Second time, and then relax back to the breathing. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Now, if your mind wanders somewhere else, then you're back into fight or flight. Okay. One last time, and then lower your hand, completely relax. Okay. Now you take a deep breath from the belly button all the way up to here. Get ready. Breathe in. And then relax. You maintain the fist in front of your nose. You bring together the elbow. Okay. And now what you want to do, you stretch the back as if you're wearing a sweater that's 2 sizes too small and you want to stretch that sweater. And then relax, opening up all the energy lines in the back of your, uh, that's part of the gallbladder energy line. It's very important. Okay. Second time, open, crack open the back. And then relax. Back to the breathing. One last time. And then relax. The next one is called fists on top of the head. So you bring your fist on top of your head. Now, this next one is very cardio. You open your shoulder, you open your fists, okay, as if you're letting the blood flow into the tip of your fingers. Then you roll your fist one joint, two joint, you lock it with your thumb, and you squeeze as hard as you can, as if you're squeezing all the blood into your heart. And then you relax, let go. Let the blood come back to the fingertips. Second time, squeeze. The hand has to be above the head, okay? Give it some elevation. One last time. And then relax. Okay, the next one is called stabbing the shoulder. Open the shoulder, grab the dagger, point the dagger on your shoulder, and you stab, and you will feel some tightness in the back of the head, as if you remember we were doing the massage, as if you're squeezing the water hose. And then you relax. Let the chi rise to the top of your head. Focusing on your breathing. Second time, open, grab the dagger, point the dagger on your shoulder, and you stab. And then you relax, opening the fingers again. One last time, open the shoulder, grab the dagger, stab. And then relax, completely relax, back to the breathing. Check the sliver. This one is called a cross. Okay, it's not punching, it's pushing. Now imagine you have two walls on the side. You first rotate your wrist. Then you roll your fist, take a deep breath, and you push, stretching the upper part of your arm. This is called the triple warmer. And then relax. Second time. And you push. And then you relax. One last time. And you push. And then you relax. Now you do the same thing in the front, locking your elbow with the wall in front of you. Rotate your wrist, roll your fist, take a deep breath, and you push. And then you relax. Second time. And you push. And then you relax. One last time. And you push. And then you relax. Now we're going to do chin up. This is where you want to make sure that you're energizing the muscle, right? Don't want to lose muscle. So you look up as if there's a bar, you grab the bar and you pull yourself up and then you relax. Second time. And then you relax. This is really good for this muscle. One last time. And then you relax. Now you do the same thing as if you're ripping the phone book. You grab the phone book and you rip, working on this muscle, right? And then you relax. Second time. And then you relax. Third time. And then you relax. Now you swallow the saliva all the way down to it. Swallow. Okay. Now, before we do the next step, make sure that we check our ghost stand. We're not standing up, locking our knee. We're loosening our knee, activating the calf. The calf is the bladder, which is bladder and kidney together. And so this next three is about the kidney. So you want to make sure you stand up, like the sit-ups, stand up. Then back of the hand touching. You lower your body without standing up. You straighten up your elbow and you squeeze the fist one time, back to back of the hand touching. Squeeze it the second time. Squeeze it the third time. Flip your hand without standing up. Okay. Focus on the center of your palm. Breathe in. Breathe out. Empty hand. Breathe in. Palm facing forward. Lower your knee as if you're pushing a big rock. Go push. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cool. We're going to sit. Okay. Now, we're going to go over time a little bit because I need to be very thorough. And it comes, the sitting technique is called the wandering dragon chasing the pearl. We're just going to sit 3 minutes each part. The first part, before we do anything, come back to the spine, stretch the spine to upward as hard as you can. Lift up your shoulder, open your shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Lean back the forehead so the ears on top of the shoulder, tuck in the chin, close your eyelid. Don't shut it tight, just relax. And then take the tip of the tongue, put it behind the teeth, close your mouth, focus on your breath. I know I'm breathing in. I can feel the in breath. I know I'm breathing out. Now I want you to anchor your mind on your belly button. When you breathe in, I want you to take the belly button and take it across the room, opening that stomach. And when you breathe out, I want you to take the belly button and bring it all the way back, collapse the stomach. I'm going to sit for 3 minutes. This is abdominal breathing. It's called mindful of your body to create the chi. Okay. Now we're going to continue. We're going to go to the second step. The second step is mindful. The first step is called mindful of the body to create the chi. The second part is called activating the chi, right, to cultivate the mind. So this one, we let go of the belly button. We continue to feel our breath. We feel that we're breathing in. You can actually feel the stomach opens a little bit on its own. You feel that you're breathing out and the stomach collapses on its own. So maintain that feeling. But now I want you to focus on the bottom of your spine. As you breathe in, I want you to walk up that spine one step at a time towards the top of the head. Stretch your spine as you do that. When you get to the top of the head and your body start to breathe out, I want you to start at the top of the head, come down through the forehead, come down to the nose, come down through the tongue towards your belly button. As you do that, I want you to lean back and relax. Basically, what you're doing is you're taking the electrons that you generate because you're breathing with your lower abdomen, activating the connected the diaphragm, massaging the small intestines and creating the electrons. Essentially, what you're doing is you're guiding those electrons to the top of your head and then guiding it back, creating an electrical loop. Okay, now let's do it again. Focus on the lower part of your spine. As you breathe in, go up the spine, stretch the spine until you reach the top of the head. And when you breathe out, come back down, lean back, relax until you get to the stomach. Breathe in, breathe out. Let's do that for 3 minutes. Now, the first part is by itself is very healthy for you because it activates both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. When you breathe in, you're basically on rest and fight or flight. When you breathe out, you're on rest and digest. So just that first part is already important. The scientists actually measures your heart rate variability because when you breathe in, your heart rate goes up. When you breathe out, your heart rate goes down. And if you have autonomous disorder, then they don't vary. But when you have healthy autonomous system, then there's a variation. And they actually correlate that with brain health. Turns out that the people who were taught lower stomach breathing has a improvement on the dementia condition. Now, the second part, it continues the same process. You're guiding electrons up. You're actually guiding it through the membrane between the left brain and the right brain and bring it back down. It's just this more of the same. Make sure you stretch your spine as you breathe in and make sure you relax, lean back as you breathe out. You're using your spiral cord as the conductive path. It's very important that you stretch and then relax, okay? Now, it's also important for you to, as you relax, you lean back so you're not using your back muscle. Otherwise, you sit a little while and then your back becomes very sore. Now, we're going to talk about the third part. The third part is just a slight variation of the second. As you sit, the second part, cycling the electricities up your spine and down. And if you actually focus on this, so you don't have any other thoughts, you're not thinking about the past, the future, you're only thinking about the present, then this electrical circuit that you create is coherent. And coherent electrical circuit generate magnetism. And that magnetism then couples with the Earth's magnetism. The Earth has a molten core. The moon doesn't have a molten core, but the other five planets does. So together they're the five elements, the Jupiter, the Mars, the Venus, and so forth. And so they have their own magnetic field. And when you have a coherent electrical circuit generating your own magnetic field, then there's a magnetic coupling. And as you practice this with diligence, you notice that you actually start to feel a chi rising on its own as you breathe in and then coming back down on its own. Okay, it's not imaginary, it's real. Now we call that the pearl, and we call your mind the dragon. And the dragon does not lead the pearl, the dragon chase after the pearl. So when that energy rises, you just follow to the top of the head, and then when the energy comes back to your stomach, you follow to the stomach. The dragon goes after the pearl. But this technique is called the wandering dragon. Chasing after the pearl means that the dragon has to be free, meaning that you don't constrain your dragon. You let the dragon rise on your spine as you breathe in, but then you imagine that you have a cloud on top of your head. The dragon sees its ancestral home, so it leaves the top of the head, goes into the cloud, nice and free. You relax. Then when you breathe out, the dragon comes back out, follow towards the stomach. The stomach is called the Dan Ten, is the field of fire. It's as if it's the cave for the dragon. Let the dragon rest in the cave. Don't be such a hurry. And when you breathe in again, let it rise. Be free. Let it go into the cloud. And when the dragon goes in the cloud, you can actually look back at this body as if you have an hour body experience. And then you come back down. When you breathe in, you go back up. And pretty soon, not only do you experience the chi rising on its own, you feel that your head is very, very cool. And you feel that your stomach is very, very warm. You feel that your body gets lighter and lighter, as if you want to escape this body. And you feel that time comes to a standstill. It doesn't matter we sit for 5 minutes or 15 minutes. Let's sit for 3 minutes. Make sure you stretch your spine, lean back and relax. So you're not using any back muscle. Make sure you lean back your forehead, tuck in your chin, so you're not using any neck muscle. Make sure your eyelids are closed but not shut, so you're not using any muscle on your eyelid. Make sure your tip of the tongue is touching the roof of your mouth, so you're turning on your salivary gland, making sure that you're in the rest and digest mode. Everything matters. Okay, open your eyes. We're 7 minutes past 9 o'clock. Now, when you meditate and you're successful, you enter what's called samadhi. And sometimes people translate into rupture of joy, right? All of a sudden you feel something that you never felt before. And the side effect of that is that you reject your body because the body is what's holding you back. And so it's very important that after you meditate, you massage to reclaim this body. Okay, wake up the body, massage the face, massage the side of the face, massage the temple, massage the forehead starting between your eyebrow, and then top of the head, back of the head, lower part of the head, the neck, and then the side, and then back to the fingers. Wake up and reclaim this body. All right. So that's the end of class. You don't have to stay for the Dharma talk, but if you like, you can stay. I try to keep it short. Um, and if you cannot stay because you have other engagement, don't worry. This whole session is recorded anyway. You just have to fast forward towards the end. I will do my best to also edit it so that it's a standalone um, together with the class notes. All right. So when I started, I mentioned how many months ago, years ago, someone asked me, this is one of the time when I was focused mainly on exercise, and asked me if what I do is Qigong. And I say, well, yes, because Gong means practice. So here we practice Qi. Qi is the life energy. It's the idea that is a bridge between your body and your mind. But then I said something like, I practice it as a journey and not as a destination. So the question is, what is the destination? The destination is emancipation. You say, well, emancipation, what does that mean? Well, once upon a time, much like what we are now, we have not a United States of America, we have an un-United States of America. Back then, the issue was slavery. Now it's something else. But the point is that we finally free the slave, we liberate the slave, but we don't say that. We say we emancipate the slaves. The reason is that no one has the right to claim another human being as their personal property. And since you have no right to claim it as your own, there's no possibility of liberating them. So we use the word emancipation. Return something to that person that belongs to him in the first place. So when we talk about meditation and other spiritual practice, we also use the word emancipation. It's about emancipating the mind, let it free. We don't use the word liberate because no one has the right to claim our mind. Our mind should have been free to begin with. Let me talk about something called the 5 hindrances today. But let's go back to last week and start once again, talk about the existence, the degrees of existence of a being, not just the body, but much more. Right? So at least here we talk about the body and the mind with the chi, the life energy as the bridge. Back in the days, or even today, the North Indians, the yogis, they think of existence in a much more sophisticated way. They think of it as 5 parts, one on top of each other, like the Russian Tao. The outside is what they call the food body. This is the breakfast that I consumed this morning. It's all borrowed, just like you borrow a book from the library. Someday you have to return it. Everything has to be returned. Within that, the North Indians think of it in terms of intellect, a brain. Now, it turns out that both the first one and the second disappear when you die. And then they talk about the chi. They don't use the word chi, they call it nadi, which is the energy that flows into through your body from the universe. Again, when you die, it disappears. It doesn't go, it goes back to the universe. Then finally, there's 2 more, and one is called the ego, the self. And then finally, in the very inside is your karma. Now, The historical Buddha was also a yogi, and he has a different interpretation of that. Makes it easier for him to teach. So he talks about the five skandhas, which is we start talking about that. The five skandhas I mentioned is like a funnel. It's like the goes from one media to another. So the first skandha, first funnel is all about physical stuff. It takes the physics, the outside, the light, the sound, and funnel it through our sensors, the eye, the nose, the ear, the tongue, the body, and the mind, all together. Everything that's physical about us is right there. And then the second one is, I call it sensation, is when after we sense it outside, it generates electricity, it goes in a spiral core. And then from the spiral core, it goes into the brain, intellect, which is a small part of the intellectual system. It creates like and dislike, and we then call it the 51 mental factors, remember? And from there, it actually leaves a record, which is the last skandha called consciousness. It leaves a record called karma. And karma can be virtuous or non-virtuous. It's just a copy, it leave behind. But it's like the seed for the next thought cycle. So if you leave behind a lot of bad karma, remember that I talk about the tree, the banyan tree. Once upon a time, we were pure, we were full of virtuous mental factors, but we had something, a fear, anger, or something that landed next to us. It started to grow and consumes us. And so now what we want to do is to free ourselves from these non-virtuous mental factors. But it's not free or liberation, it's emancipation. Because no one has the right to claim our innermost virtuous self as their own. So I mentioned about this story where the Native American chief tells his grandson and he says, we have these two wolves that lives within us. One is virtuous and one is non-virtuous. The virtuous is the compassion, the loving kindness, the empathy, and the equanimity. And the non-virtuous is the fear, is the hate, is all of that. Right? Now, the Buddhist has a different take on that. Rather than thinking that it's one or two, that you can choose between the virtuous and the non-virtuous, the Buddhists think differently. And it thinks that the choice is just on the non-virtuous, that we ourselves has always been virtuous. So in the Christianity, they talk about the Holy Spirit. That's within us. It's always been within us. It's just that we're covered by this black cloud that we call the non-virtuous. So once again, the virtuous, there are only, remember I talked about only 11 virtuous factors, very few, starting with faith, ending with non-violence. Whereas the non-virtuous, the destructive ones, is like 26 over 51. It's more than half. And it starts with ignorance and it ends and it goes on. Long list, right? Now, if you take all the non-virtuous mental factors, you can actually summarize it into what is called the five hindrances. But before I talk about five hindrances, I want to remind ourselves that the practice is about emancipation. It's about removing us from the black cloud of non-virtuous thoughts so that we can get back into the real self, the real us, which are virtuous to begin with. And so it's really about changing a karma. So everything that we do is about changing the karma, reversing the karma. It's like the banyan tree. The inside is trying to get out. The outside is the karma, it's the bad karma, and it's trying to get out. So next week and the week after, I will talk about the practice of how to overcome that karma and emancipating us from these bad karma. That's the practice. But before that, I want to talk about these these non-virtuous mental factors again. These 20, at least 26 non-virtuous, what we call a kusala. Kusala is the virtuous. A kusala is the opposite of kusala. So we take all the a kusala, the non-virtuous mental factors, and we summarize it into 5 things. And they are called the 5 hindrances, meaning that they're like the black cloud that covers our inner energy, inner self. It's like the black cloud covering the sun. Okay. So the 5 hindrances, the first one is called attachment. Attachment. We know what attachment means. When we break up with someone, we don't want that. Right? She walks away from me. That's not my choice. I become very attached to her. When I had a good meal, I like it so much that I become very attached to that. Now, you might think that, oh, we only become attached to the virtuous. Not true. We're actually much more attracted to the non virtuous. That's the problem. Actually, we like anger. We like it a lot. Imagine, just think about your friends that you have and how many of them are toxic friends, but you like them anyway because you actually like sitting around and bitch about someone else. So we get attached to that. The second one is called aversion. It's the opposite of attachment. Attachment is when you want to have more of it, whether it's virtuous or non-virtuous. Aversion is when you want to push that away. When you want to push that away, right? And then finally, the next two in modern term is just depression and anxiety. Depression is when you want to do something but you don't find the energy. Anxiety is the opposite, right? When you can't calm your mind and focus and you become and so when people talk about anxiety and depression, they think that it's the mind, but actually it is who we are. It is who we are. Those who cannot tame the mind, they end up with these 5 hindrances. Two of them is one is depression and one is anxiety. We often have both. It's called bipolar. The last one is the one that's most common is doubt, loss of faith. Now, it's important that we understand the election that we had 3 weeks ago. And it's important to understand for me to understand why I am so upset by it. I am upset by it not because of one person win and the other person didn't. That happens every time. I'm upset because the first president that I was able to elect after I became a citizen, I came in this country in 1971. It wasn't until Ronald Reagan was running against Carter that I was eligible to vote. And Ronald Reagan was my first president. That was the days when all presidential campaign were focused on the virtuous. Ronald Reagan's famous slogan was, "It's morning again in America." He talks about the shiny city on a hill. He inspires us with the purpose of establishing a society that is inspirational, that we work towards the common good, that we want to have a non-bearing small government, and we wanted to share civic virtues. Whether you believe him or not, back then, when you run for president, you focus on the virtuous. We talk about a candidate that has a very high moral standard because we want them to inspire us. We want them to inspire us. We want them to be of a very high standard. I want to share with something. I actually took it out from my treasure bin. In his second term, his second year, I was a professor at UCLA, and I got selected as one of the 50 young professors in the country, one per state. There's another 50 that are the physics professors, young professors, also one per state. This is my certificate with Ronald Reagan's signature, and it was 1986. I'm 68 years old, and I've been in this country since I was 15, and every day I want to live up to that. Being in America was not my birthright, but I want to make damn sure that I'm worthy of it, worthy to be part of the shining city on a hill. And after Reagan, every president candidate after that focused on the virtuous. When George H.W. ran, his slogan was kinder, gentler nation. When Bill Clinton ran, his slogan was putting people first. George W. was compassionate conservatism. Barack Obama was a man of few words. It was either hope or forward. Even John McCain, who ran against Barack Obama, says country first. But things started to change. John McCain selected Sarah Palin as his running mate, thinking that he just wanted to have a female, a governor who's in the executive branch to compensate for him. Little did he know that he elected someone who understood something that we still don't quite understand today, which is the United States, the U, actually stands for unrepresented. That a big part of a country consists of people not middle class, not working class, but working poor. And these people are by large uneducated. They don't have college degree, unskilled even. They work part-time jobs, this and that. They mostly don't read. That's why podcast is so important these days. They are rather uninformed. They are uncurious about the world. They don't travel. If you look at the map of people who have passports, those who are in the so-called red states, they don't tend to have passports. It's the people in the blue states that have passports. Now, I'm not trying to put down anyone. I'm just saying that Sarah Palin was the person who recognized that and recognized that presidential campaign is not inspirational anymore. That it's all about grievance. This is the time when all of a sudden they realize that those virtuous factors are few and far in between. That if you focus on the non-virtuous factors, you actually have a better chance of winning. It took Trump to understand that and weaponize it. And so if you look at his slogan, the slogan is about grievance. It's about those who are not represented currently by the government. Make America great again is all about grievance. Those who understand that it's about making America white again. And they reject everything else that is not white, everything else like that. But they're just playing with our emotion. Now, I'm not saying that the other side doesn't play with emotion, they play equally. All I'm saying is that if you understand how your emotion works, understand the 51 mental factors, understand that you're fully capable of being one or the other, then you will stop being a prey to the predators and you can actually live a more unhindered life. And that's what we're all about, is to emancipate our mind, free of the influences from the outside. Okay, so there are some comments. I want to make sure I don't miss any. Okay, yeah, this is going back to when I talk about bipolar disorder, and so Jenna corrected me and says, no, that's not bipolar disorder. Depressions and anxieties are interrelated, and they are not bipolar disorder. I appreciate that comment. The two are highly correlated naturally and very normal at this point in the country, not bipolar, which is marked by episodes of manic, not anxiety. I understand the difference. And um, and then continue and says, bipolar disorder is psychotic features, so I assure you're both manic, anxiety, and depression. Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's when I say anxiety, it's something rather gentle, but they're talking about manic anxiety. I understand that. I misspoke. Yeah. Okay. All right. But still, but still, but still, we have had a lot of success actually. Not me, but in the temple of helping people with bipolar by focusing on mindfulness, and particularly mindfulness in motion. Right, it's very hard for someone, even someone who's very healthy, to sit down and just focus on the breath. But it's much easier if you focus on your body. And so we do a lot of that working in the farm, like that. Okay, all right. So Jenna once again says manic and anxieties are very different things. I don't want to make light of it, Jenna. I hope you forgive me. I'm not trying to make light of anything here. And I'm not. This is not personal experience to me. It's just I do have people around me that has been diagnosed as bipolar disorder, and and I also know that we have done some work towards that. Okay. All right. So let's continue next week, and I'm going to move towards the practice now. But at least let's understand how we're being played by both sides. Okay, by being played by both sides, cycling between the virtuous and the non-virtuous. Right. Okay. All right. Anyway, if you don't like this part, don't just skip it. Okay. Don't like this part, just skip it. All right. So see you all next week. Keep up the practice. Whether you do it for your physical health or your mental health or even spiritual health, that's up to you, right? I'm just a train. I'm going one way anyway. It's just part of the journey. Wherever you want to get off is fine with me. All right. Okay. See you all next week. Bye bye. 星期一見。拜拜。